Stephen A. Smith. Oh, ain't that man a diva in the making, man? Talking all that smack about Max Kellerman like that. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Stephen A. Smith blasting Max Kellerman on a podcast as he attempted to embarrass him for his work on First Take. However, this caught the attention of former NFL superstar Terrell Owens as he called out Stephen A. Smith. Once again, Stephen A. Smith is running his mouth as if he is an NBA player. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Was Stephen A. Smith right or wrong about Max Kellerman? Honestly, it depends on your worldview and perspective. Now, if you want to talk about political speak, then of course Stephen A. Smith was wrong. Now, if you want to talk about the actual results of Max Kellerman, then I actually agree with Stephen A. Smith. I actually believe that Max Kellerman was not good on First Take because you look at the ratings from First Take when Max Kellerman was there versus when he wasn't there. Now, when Max Kellerman was on First Take, the ratings on First Take dropped by 50% compared to Stephen A. and Skip. Now, obviously, percentages in terms of viewership was going to drop around that time because Stephen A. and Skip were comedy gold to listen to for sports talk shows, and Max Kellerman isn't obviously on that level. However, Max Kellerman tanked 50% of that audience. When First Take was here with Skip and Stephen A., they were drawing 800,000 viewers a day. With Max Kellerman, they were only getting about 400,000 viewers on a good day. Nowadays, when you get Stephen A. Smith with a panel of people to talk with instead of having Max Kellerman there, First Take's ratings have actually improved. Now they're getting more to 500,000, 600,000, maybe even on a good day, they can reach 700,000. The point of the story is Max Kellerman is not a ratings draw. He has not been a ratings draw whatsoever. He never was, never will be, and he is not a ratings draw whatsoever. There's a reason why FS1 didn't even take in Max Kellerman. It's because of the fact that Max Kellerman has been a massive failure whenever he goes. Whatever show Max Kellerman hosts, whether it's Around the Horn or This Just In or KJM, the point of the story is Max Kellerman is not a ratings draw whatsoever. Max Kellerman is just not very interesting to hear on TV, and Stephen A. Smith is absolutely right about that. However, what I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith is the fact that he needs to be saying this information out loud. He really couldn't have kept this information in-house. He couldn't have just been a true professional about this. Why does he have to be a diva and point this out? And why does he have to go ahead and go on podcast shows and rip Max Kellerman? Look, man, I don't like Max Kellerman either. I think he's a woke loser. I think Max Kellerman simps for the black community way too much. But Max Kellerman, man, he's a human being. You got to be able to feel for him at least. You got to be able to say, hey, Max, I know you're not really good on television, but hey, at least you're a nice person. At least you try your hardest. He could have said something like that, but no, Stephen A. Smith wanted to be a drama king, and he wanted to go ahead and blast him on the Joe Budden podcast. Who's Joe Budden, you may ask? I don't know, man. I never heard of Joe Budden before. For all we know, this could be Joe Biden in disguise. I'm just kidding about that, but the point of the story is Stephen A. Smith, he goes on this random podcast, and this dude asked him about Max Kellerman, and Stephen A. Smith had this to say. So according to Sports Illustrated, it said, quote, I heard some of it. I would take full responsibility for that. It was totally my fault, and the reason it was my fault is because I didn't like working with it. It's just that damn simple. I didn't like it. I thought the show was stale. I thought that we had flatline when it came to the public at large. I didn't want to go from number 1 to number 2 when Skip left. I wasn't having that. That shit wasn't going to happen. And I agree with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith, whenever he's on television, he always has to be a number 1. He's not going to be a number 2, especially to Max Kellerman. You want Max Kellerman as your number 1 option? Of course that's not going to happen. If Max Kellerman is your number 1 option on a TV show where you're trying to get ratings, that show is going to be a massive failure. Max Kellerman is not a marketable guy whatsoever. Max Kellerman is not relatable to the common man either. What does Max Kellerman provide value anywhere? Max Kellerman doesn't provide value anywhere. He doesn't provide value for the black community. He doesn't bring in value for the white people either. He doesn't bring in value for the Democrats. He doesn't bring in value for the Republicans. Now, if you're a liberal guy, you're going to say, oh man, I don't care about Max Kellerman. All I want to hear black people speak. And then you got the conservative people that are saying, oh man, I don't want to hear Max Kellerman spew out his woke talk. So when you look at it from that perspective, what audience does Max Kellerman serve? Max Kellerman is nothing but a massive failure whenever he has a television show to go ahead and do. Look, Max Kellerman is a hard worker and he tries his hardest to succeed. But the truth of the matter is, with the personality and beliefs that Max Kellerman has in himself, it is never going to work for him on television. That's why FS1 is not hiring him, even though FS1 is literally hiring anybody that they can off the street. Now, let Let me go ahead and read you guys the second quote that Stephen A. Smith said that ended up getting posted on Sports Illustrated. So it said, quote, "I have mad respect for him from the standpoint of white dude, highly intelligent, Ivy League educated from Columbia, smart as a whip, can talk his ass off, can talk about anything. I get all that. But if you weren't an athlete and you weren't a journalist, and the absence of the two components left people wondering, why should we listen to you?" And honestly, I agree with Stephen A. Smith, at least out loud. I would have preferred if he didn't say it out loud, but I can at least relate to what Stephen A. Smith is saying because of the fact, why are we listening to you? Why should we care about Max Kellerman's opinion? What is the difference between Max Kellerman's opinion and my opinion? I could literally go and watch my own show and I would find my own opinion more entertaining than Max Kellerman. When you hear Max Kellerman talk, he's always spewing out his woke talk and he's talking in a monotone voice. Meanwhile, I can go up here and tell you guys what isn't necessarily happening, and I can make it in a comedic way because I'll make voice inflections. I'm able to make the show comedic, and I'm also able to help you guys actually learn about what is going on around the sports world as well. These guys on ESPN that you're hearing, they don't know nothing about sports. These dudes are just here just to draw on ratings and just be entertainers. And some of them are good at it, like Stephen A. Smith, while others are horrible at it. Max Kellerman was one of those people that was horrible at being an entertainer. He's not even funny, and he's not even that intelligent during sports takes. Remember the man said, "I want Iguodala over Steph Curry. Give me Andre Iguodala over Steph Curry." I mean, what kind of take was that? Or what about the time when he was talking about Tom Brady will fall off a cliff, and he was making this sign, he gonna fall off a cliff. You see the hand I got right here? This is the slope that he was making right here. He gonna say, Tom Brady gonna fall off a cliff. He was saying that quote in 2016. And you know what's the crazy part about that prediction? Max Kellerman got kicked out of First Take before Tom Brady even retired, because Max Kellerman left First Take in August of 2021. Tom Brady didn't even retire officially till January of 2023. Tom Brady outlasted Max Kellerman at his job after Max Kellerman talked so arrogantly about Aaron Rodgers. And then he also had his counter argument that he was saying that Aaron Rodgers, if there's one quarterback that could play till the age of 45, it's definitely going to be Aaron Rodgers. But with the way Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills in Week 1, who really thinks Aaron Rodgers is going to make it to age 45? And look, that's not a knock on Aaron Rodgers. He's a fantastic quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it. He's my personal favorite quarterback that ever played the game of football. But Aaron Rodgers is not playing till the age of 45. Max Kellerman, instead of appreciating greatness, he decided to go ahead and bash Tom Brady and say that he was going to fall off a cliff, and clearly he was letting his biases get to him. So that's also another issue that I have with Max Kellerman. Outside of his stupid hot takes, he really wasn't serving any good purpose whatsoever. So here's what ended up happening. So Stephen A. Smith, he rightfully blasted Max Kellerman, even though he should have kept that in-house. He should have never said that stuff out loud. And then Terrell Owens, a former NFL superstar, he sees this news and then he ends up having beef with Stephen A. Smith on Twitter. They end up going back and forth on Twitter. I'm not going to go ahead and read to you guys exactly what they said word for word, but I'm going to show you guys two quotes that I found from the New York Post that summed up what happened. So according to the New York Post, it said, quote, "On Saturday, Smith responded to Owens posting on Twitter. Now, for this dude, that's an entirely different story. You know how I feel about your sorry ass at Terrell Owens, and you know why. You should thank your heavenly father I haven't zeroed in on you with the trifling shit you try to pull. Tell folks to ask ESPN what your desperate ass try to pull. Keep on talking. Eventually, you'll expose yourself. Hashtag real facts." And this is where I disagree with Stephen A. Smith right here. This dude should have kept quiet and he should have just ran away from the news. But what Stephen A. Smith decided to do, he decided to think, oh man, I'm smarter than all these people. Let me go ahead and clap back on Twitter. Let me go ahead and try to be a cloud chaser. And this is the problem that I have with the mainstream media, right? Because the people in the mainstream media seem to be far more interested in being a cloud chaser instead of talking about actual sporting events that are happening. And this dude is talking about exposing Terrell Owens. What crime has Terrell Owens ever committed? Has Terrell Owens ever been arrested for anything? Has he ever committed any illegal act? I don't know. Maybe he has been. Maybe he's the world's greatest cover-up dude ever. Who knows? Me personally, though, I'd like to take the chances of Terrell Owens is an innocent guy. Look, Terrell Owens, he was an ultimate diva when he played in the NFL, and he was a distraction in the locker room. But Terrell Owens was never a criminal. Terrell Owens was never doing anything illegal. Terrell Owens was just a diva that wanted to have fun when he played the game of football. And Terrell Owens, I'm glad that he responded back to him on Twitter. I'm glad he put Stephen A. Smith in his place, because Terrell Owens said, quote, "You see, I'm not intimidated by you because you have a platform and a loudmouth to claim that you're going to allegedly expose me about something." Owens continued, "It seems to me that you're the one being exposed. Please expose me. Let us know what you got. I, along with everyone else, will be waiting. I don't bother nobody. I'm just me. And if you don't like it from me, then that's a personal problem." And remember the time where Terrell Owens was talking about how Max Kellerman was blacker than Stephen A. Smith? And that's the real reason why Stephen A. Smith has beef with Terrell Owens. I don't care what he tells you. The real reason why he has beef with Terrell Owens is because of the fact that Terrell Owens told him to his face, Max Kellerman is is blacker than you. And that is a problem right there, because even though I don't agree with that statement from Terrell Owens, the fact that he actually had a credible argument for that, even though Stephen A. Smith is supposedly this loudmouth guy that serves the purpose of African Americans, that should tell you everything you need to know about Stephen A. Smith. He is nothing but a tool, man. I'm telling you, man, this Stephen A. Smith guy is looking more and more foolish as the days go by. That being said, though, he was right about Max Kellerman. However, he was wrong on just about anything else they handled with this beef between Max Kellerman and Terrell Owens. The way that he argued with Terrell Owens, he got owned in the argument badly, and as for the point that he made about Max Kellerman, he just ended up looking like a bully that was piling on Max Kellerman when he was down. He essentially kicked the man when he was laying down on the ground. That's what he just did with Max Kellerman. That's a low blow for what Stephen A. Smith just did. And even though he's right about Max Kellerman, that stuff needs to be kept in house. He don't need to be sharing that stuff on a random podcast. The fact of the matter is Stephen A. Smith was wrong here, while Terrell Owens was right. And as for Max Kellerman, yeah, there's a reason why he's unemployed. But again, if you're Stephen A. Smith, you got to keep that stuff in house. You can't be a backstabber like that, because that's just not right at the end of the day. You're not supposed to act like a backstabber to your former colleagues or even to anybody, because you're supposed to be a straight shooter. You're supposed to be a man. A real man doesn't take shots like that passive aggressively. If you feel like you got beef with Max Kellerman, go ahead and say it to his face. This dude has so much beef with Max Kellerman, but he won't ever say nothing to his face whatsoever. And that's my issue with Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith has not shared those thoughts to Max Kellerman's face whatsoever. So that is why Stephen A. Smith was actually right about Max Kellerman, even though he should have kept that information to himself, as he got embarrassed by Terrell Owens. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinStran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinStran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinStran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.